The rain had started without warning, turning the afternoon into a symphony of chaos. Kai pressed himself against the cool marble wall of the Sterling Industries building. His white cane folded and clutched against his chest. The security guard's voice still echoed in his mind. Firm, apologetic, but unyielding. The building was closing early for a private executive meeting. All visitors needed to leave. But Kai hadn't been visiting. He'd been waiting. His friend Maya worked on the 7th floor, and they were supposed to leave together. She texted him to wait in the lobby, but in the confusion of the sudden closure, the crowd had swept him along like driftwood in a current. He'd felt the push of bodies, heard the shuffle of feet, and then found himself somewhere quiet. Too quiet. He extended his cane carefully, the familiar tap-tap-tap against polished floors grounding him. The air here smelled different. Leather and cedar, with undertones of expensive coffee. Not the lobby's generic lavender air freshener. His heart began to race. "Hello," Kai called out softly, his voice barely carried in the space. He took another careful step, his cane finding the edge of what felt like a large rug. "Is anyone here?" Silence answered him. Kai's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, activating the voice assistant. 3 missed calls from Maya, the automated voice announced. He tried calling back, but the signal dropped mid-ring. Of course, he must be in one of the upper floors where reception was spotty. The logical thing would be to find the door and make his way back to the elevator. But as Kai turned, his cane caught on something. A chair leg, perhaps, and he stumbled forward. His hands found the edge of a desk, smooth and expansive. He steadied himself, taking a slow breath to calm his racing pulse. That's when he heard it. The subtle ding of an elevator arriving. Footsteps, multiple sets, moving with purpose. Panic seized him. If security found him here, in what was clearly someone's private office, they'd think he was trespassing. Or worse, stealing. The thought of trying to explain himself, of the confusion and suspicion, made his stomach twist. Without thinking, Kai dropped to his knees and crawled underneath the desk. It was spacious enough, clearly designed for someone tall. He pulled his cane close and tried to make himself as small as possible. His heart hammering so loudly he was certain it would give him away. The door opened. "Absolutely unacceptable," a deep voice said, cold and controlled. "I don't care what the projections show. If we can't guarantee ethical sourcing, we don't move forward. Mr. Sterling, with all due respect, every other company in our position." Another voice began. "I am not every other company." The words cut through the air like a blade. "This meeting is over. Have the revised proposals on my desk by Monday, or don't bother coming in." Kai held his breath. Sterling, as in the Sterling. Adrian Sterling, the CEO whose reputation preceded him like a winter storm, brilliant, exacting, and notoriously private. Kai had heard Maya mention him in passing, always with a mixture of admiration and fear. The footsteps retreated, and the door closed. But not everyone had left. Kai could hear him, Adrian Sterling presumably, moving around the office. The soft rustle of fabric suggested he was removing his jacket. A cabinet opened and closed. Liquid poured into glass. The chair above Kai rolled backward slightly, and he pressed himself further into the corner, barely breathing. For several long minutes, there was only silence punctuated by the occasional sound of paper rustling or keys clicking on a keyboard. Kai's legs were beginning to cramp, but he didn't dare move. He'd wait until Sterling left. He had to. Then his phone buzzed. It wasn't loud, he kept it on vibrate, but in the absolute quiet of the office, it might as well have been a fire alarm. Kai's blood turned to ice. The typing stopped. "Come out." The voice was measured, but there was an edge to it. Not quite anger. Something more complex. Kai squeezed his eyes shut. A useless gesture, but an instinctive one. He didn't move. "I can hear your heartbeat," Sterling said, and there was something almost amused in his tone now. "And I can smell you. Come out, or I'll call security." Omega. He could smell that Kai was an Omega. Heat flooded Kai's face as he realized what that meant. Adrian Sterling was an Alpha. A powerful one if his reputation was anything to go by. Slowly, carefully, Kai crawled out from under the desk. His hands shook as he unfolded his cane, using it to help himself stand. He kept his head slightly bowed, not in submission, but because he'd learned it made people less uncomfortable. "I'm sorry," Kai said quietly. "I got lost when the building was closing. I panicked when I heard people coming, and I hid. I wasn't trying to. I'm not." He took a breath. "I'm just lost." The silence stretched. Kai could feel eyes on him, assessing. His fingers tightened on his cane. "You're blind." It wasn't a question. "Yes." More silence. Then, "Sit down before you fall down. You're shaking." It was true. Adrenaline was wearing off, leaving him unsteady. Kai felt a hand, large, warm, gently guide him to a chair. Not the office chair, but something softer. Couch, maybe. The touch was brief, professional, but Kai felt it like a brand. He heard Sterling move away, then return. "Here, coffee. It's in front of you on the table." 10 o'clock position. Kai reached out carefully and found the cup exactly where described. The warmth seeped into his palms. "Thank you," he murmured. "How did you get up here?" "I don't know," Kai admitted. "I was supposed to meet my friend in the lobby. Maya-chun, she works on 7. But when they announced the closure, everyone started moving, and I got turned around. I ended up here, wherever here is. My private office. 63rd floor. Kai's eyebrows rose. "I'm sorry. Really. I'll leave right now if you drink your coffee first. You look like you need it." Kai did as he was told, grateful for something to do with his hands. The coffee was good, rich and smooth. Nothing like the break room sludge Maya always complained about. They sat in silence for a moment, and Kai tried to map the room in his mind. Large, clearly. The couch was positioned away from the desk. There was a window nearby. He could feel the temperature differential on his left side. "I'm Adrian," Sterling said suddenly. "I know. Kai fumbled. "Maya's mentioned you. I'm Kai. Kai Winters." "Kai." Adrian said his name like he was testing it. "Your friend must be worried. Give me your phone. I'll text her." Kai hesitated, then pulled out his phone and handed it over. He heard the soft tap of fingers on the screen. "She says she's been looking everywhere for you. I told her you're safe and that I'll bring you down personally." A pause. She sent back 6 exclamation points and what I believe is a gif of someone fainting. Despite himself, Kai smiled. "That sounds like Maya. Does this happen often? Getting lost in strange buildings?" There was no judgment in the question, only curiosity. Kai relaxed slightly. "No. I'm usually pretty good at navigating. But crowds mess with my spatial awareness. Too much noise, too much movement. I couldn't hear my cane echoes properly." "You use echolocation?" Adrian sounded genuinely interested. "Sort of. It's not like I'm a bat or anything." Kai smiled. "But I can map spaces by sound. Click my tongue, tap my cane, and listen for how it bounces back. Carpet absorbs sound differently than tile. High ceilings have different echoes than low ones." "Fascinating." Adrian was quiet for a moment. "Would you mind if I asked, were you born blind?" "No. I lost my sight when I was 16. Car accident." Kai's hand unconsciously went to his temple, where a scar was hidden beneath his dark hair. "It's been 7 years now. I've adapted." "I'm sorry. That must have been difficult." "It was. But it also taught me to experience the world differently. I notice things other people miss. The way someone's voice changes when they're lying. The smell of rain before it falls. The feeling of sunlight moving across a room." Kai paused. "Sorry. I'm rambling." "Not at all. I find it enlightening." There was something in Adrian's voice that Kai couldn't quite identify. Not pity. He'd heard enough of that to recognize it instantly. This was something else. Interest, perhaps. Respect. "Can I ask you something?" Kai said. "Go ahead. Why aren't you angry?" "I was hiding under your desk. In your private office." Most people would have called security immediately. Adrian was quiet for so long that Kai worried he'd overstepped. Then, "I don't know. When I first sensed someone under there, I was irritated. But then you emerged, clearly terrified, clearly lost, and I just saw someone who needed help, not a threat. Besides, And here Kai could hear the smile in his voice. "You're the most unusual corporate spy I've ever encountered." Kai laughed, surprised. "Not a very effective one, I'd imagine. On the contrary, you managed to infiltrate the CEO's office completely undetected. That's impressive by any standard." They fell into an easy conversation after that. Adrian asked about Kai's work. He was a music teacher at a school for children with various disabilities, and seemed genuinely interested in the challenges and rewards of the job. In turn, Kai learned that Adrian had built Sterling Industries from the ground up after inheriting a failing company from his father. That he valued innovation but refused to compromise on ethics. That he was an alpha who'd never taken a mate, despite considerable social pressure. "They think I'm married to my work," Adrian said dryly. "They're not entirely wrong. Is that by choice?" Kai asked, then immediately regretted it. "Sorry, that's too personal." "No, it's fine. And yes, it is. I've never met anyone who—" He trailed off. "Never met the right person, I suppose. The corporate world is full of people who want to be with Adrian Sterling, CEO. Not Adrian Sterling, person." Kai understood that more than he cared to admit. Dating as an Omega was complicated enough. Dating as a blind Omega meant navigating people who either fetishized his disability or couldn't see past it. "I should get you downstairs," Adrian said finally, but he sounded reluctant. "Maya's probably convinced you've been kidnapped by now." "Probably." Kai stood, and Adrian steadied him with a hand on his elbow. The touch sent an unexpected shiver through him. They rode the elevator down together, standing closer than strictly necessary. Kai could smell Adrian's scent more clearly now. Pine and something crisp, like winter air. It was intoxicating in a way that made him feel slightly unsteady. When the doors opened to the lobby, Maya's voice rang out. "Kai! Oh my God! I was about to call the police." "I'm fine, Maya. Just got a little lost." "A little? You were in Mr. Sterling's office." She sounded scandalized and impressed in equal measure. "And he's perfectly safe," Adrian said smoothly. "Just a misunderstanding during the closure. No harm done." Maya seemed to deflate with relief. "Thank you, Mr. Sterling. Really. I'm so sorry for the trouble." "No trouble at all." Adrian's hand was still on Kai's elbow, and he gave it a gentle squeeze before letting go. "Kai, it was a pleasure meeting you. Unexpectedly so." "You too," Kai said, hating how much he meant it. This was Adrian Sterling. They existed in completely different worlds. This would be the last time they spoke. "Maya," Adrian said suddenly. "What's your extension?" 4729? "Thank you." "Kai." He addressed him directly now. "Would you object if I called you sometime? There's a new accessibility technology my R&D department is developing, and I'd value your input." Kai's heart skipped. Yes. No, I wouldn't object. I'd like that." He could practically feel Maya vibrating with suppressed excitement beside him. "Good. I'll be in touch." Adrian's voice was warm. "Get home safely." As Maya led him out into the rain-washed evening, chattering excitedly about what had just happened, Kai couldn't stop smiling. He'd accidentally hidden in an Alpha CEO's office and emerged with something he hadn't expected. Hope. 3 days later, Kai's phone rang with an unknown number. "Hello, Kai? It's Adrian. Adrian Sterling. From the office." As if Kai could have forgotten. "Hi. I wasn't sure you'd actually call." "I said I would." There was a pause. "Actually, that's not entirely true. The accessibility technology is real, and I would genuinely like your input. But I also just wanted to hear your voice again." "Is that too forward?" Kai's breath caught. "No, not too forward." "Good, because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you, about our conversation, about how you experience the world, about your laugh." Adrian let out a breath. "This is highly unprofessional of me. I'm not your employee." "True. Would you like to have dinner with me? Somewhere quiet, where we can talk?" "Yes." Kai didn't hesitate. "I'd really like that. Friday night? I can pick you up at 7. "Perfect." After they hung up, Kai sat in his apartment, phone still in hand, and wondered if this was real. If Adrian Sterling, brilliant, powerful, unreachable Adrian Sterling, had actually asked him to dinner. His phone buzzed with a text. Maya, of course. Tell me everything. Kai laughed and typed back. He asked me to dinner. The response was immediate. I'm screaming. Details. Now. But Kai didn't want to share the details yet. He wanted to hold them close, precious, and private. Whatever was beginning between him and Adrian felt fragile, like morning frost on a window, beautiful but easily disrupted. Friday arrived wrapped in autumn sunlight. Adrian picked him up exactly at 7, and Kai could hear the soft purr of an expensive engine as the car pulled up. I should warn you, Adrian said as he helped Kai into the passenger seat. I'm a terrible cook, so I'm taking you to my favorite restaurant. But if this goes well, I'd like to cook for you someday anyway. Fair warning. I appreciate the honesty, Kai said, smiling. The restaurant was intimate and quiet, just as Adrian had promised. The host seemed to know him, greeting him warmly and leading them to a private corner table. Adrian described the space to Kai in detail, the warm lighting, the exposed brick walls, the small candles on each table. The menu is in Braille, Adrian said, placing it in Kai's hands. I called ahead to request it. Kai traced his fingers over the raised dots, his throat tight. Most restaurants didn't have Braille menus. The fact that Adrian had thought to arrange it spoke volumes. Thank you, he managed. They ordered. Kai trusted Adrian's recommendation of the seafood risotto and fell into conversation as easily as they had in the office. Adrian told him about growing up in the shadow of his father's expectations, about the pressure of being an alpha in a family that valued strength above all else. Kai shared stories of his childhood, of the accident that had changed everything, of learning to navigate a world that wasn't built for people like him. Do you ever wish you could see again? Adrian asked softly. Kai considered the question. Sometimes. I miss colors. I miss faces. I miss being able to read a book without assistive technology. He paused. But I've also found beauty in the darkness. Music sounds richer to me now. I experience people more deeply because I'm not distracted by appearances. I've built a life I'm proud of. If I could go back and prevent the accident, would I? I honestly don't know. It made me who I am. You're remarkable, Adrian said, and there was something raw in his voice. I've met countless people, Kai. Powerful people, brilliant people, wealthy people. But I've never met anyone quite like you. I'm just a music teacher who got lost in your office. You're so much more than that. Adrian's hand found his across the table, fingers intertwining. And I'd very much like to keep getting to know you, if you'll let me. Kai's answer was simple. Yes. They dated through the autumn into winter. Adrian brought Kai to concerts and described the orchestra's movements. Kai brought Adrian to his classroom and let him experience the joy of children discovering music. They learned each other slowly, carefully, building something neither of them had expected to find. Adrian was patient, never pushing, always asking permission. The first time he kissed Kai, outside Kai's apartment building after their 5th date, he'd asked first, "Can I kiss you?" And when Kai had breathed, "Please," Adrian had cupped his face so gently, kissed him so thoroughly, that Kai had felt it down to his toes. The media eventually caught wind of their relationship. Photos surfaced of Adrian Sterling with an unknown Omega. Speculation ran rampant. But Adrian shut it down with a single statement. My personal life is private. But yes, I am seeing someone, and I've never been happier. That's all I'll be saying on the matter. It was enough. The gossip died down and they were left in peace. On a snowy evening in December, Adrian brought Kai back to his penthouse. They'd been dating for 3 months, and Kai had never been to Adrian's home. He'd been nervous, but Adrian had simply taken his hand and guided him inside. Let me show you my space, Adrian said softly. He walked Kai through each room, describing everything in detail. The living room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The kitchen with gleaming counters and state-of-the-art appliances Adrian barely knew how to use. The study lined with books and comfortable chairs. And then the bedroom. Kai, Adrian said, stopping at the threshold. I want you to know that there's no pressure. We can just talk, or watch a movie, or I can take you home. Whatever you want. But Kai knew what he wanted. He'd known for weeks now, had been building up the courage to take this step. He reached out, found Adrian's face, and pulled him into a kiss. "I want to stay," Kai whispered against his lips. "I want you." Adrian's sharp intake of breath was answer enough. They moved together into the room, shedding clothes and hesitation in equal measure. Adrian narrated everything he did, asked permission for every touch, made sure Kai felt safe and cherished. And when they finally came together, it was with a tenderness that made Kai's chest ache. Afterward, wrapped in Adrian's arms, Kai felt something click into place, like he'd found a piece of himself he hadn't known was missing. "I'm falling in love with you," Adrian said into the darkness. "I probably shouldn't tell you this yet, but I'm falling in love with you, Kai Winters." Kai turned in his arms, pressed a kiss to his jaw. "Good, because I'm already in love with you." Adrian's arms tightened around him. "Really? Really? You're kind and brilliant, and you make me feel seen in a way I've never experienced. How could I not love you? I don't deserve you." "Yes, you do." Kai said it firmly. "You deserve to be happy, Adrian. You deserve someone who sees you for who you are, not just what you've built. And I do. I see you." "You do," Adrian agreed softly. "Better than anyone ever has." They fell asleep like that, tangled together, and Kai thought about the strange twist of fate that had led him to hide under Adrian's desk. How panic and confusion had somehow brought him to the most important person in his life. The next morning, Adrian made breakfast, poorly as warned, burning the toast and underscrambling the eggs. But Kai laughed and kissed him and ate it anyway, because it was made with love. "Move in with me," Adrian said suddenly. Kai froze, coffee cup halfway to his lips. "What? I know it's fast. I know we've only been together 3 months. But Kai, I wake up every morning thinking about you. I go to sleep wishing you were beside me. My apartment has never felt like home until you were in it. So move in with me, please." "Adrian, if it's too soon, I understand. I'll wait. I'll wait as long as you need. But I want to build a life with you. I want to come home to you every day. I want to learn your routines and your quirks and all the little things that make you you." Kai set down his coffee cup carefully. Yes, yes, I'll move in with you. You're right, it's fast. It's probably crazy. But I've never felt more certain about anything in my life." Adrian's kiss tasted like burnt toast and joy. They built their life together piece by piece. Kai moved his things into Adrian's penthouse, and slowly the space became theirs. Adrian learned to cook, badly at first, then with increasing competence. Kai filled the apartment with music and laughter. They established routines, learned to navigate each other's needs and boundaries. The accessibility technology Adrian's company developed, with Kai's extensive input, revolutionized the industry. Sterling Industries became known not just for innovation, but for inclusivity. Adrian hired more people with disabilities, restructured the company to be more accessible, and used his platform to advocate for change. "You did this," Kai told him one night. "We did this," Adrian corrected. "You opened my eyes, Kai. You made me see beyond profit margins and quarterly reports. You reminded me that business can be a force for good." A year after they met, Adrian took Kai back to his office, the same office where they'd first encountered each other. "Why are we here?" Kai asked, laughing. "Because this is where it all started." Adrian guided him to the desk. "This is where I found you hiding, terrified and lost. This is where I first heard your voice, where I first caught your scent and felt my whole world shift. Adrian, Kai Winters, I love you. I love your strength and your kindness and your incredible spirit. I love how you experience the world, how you've taught me to experience it differently too. I love waking up next to you and falling asleep in your arms. I love our life together." He took Kai's hands. "I'm asking you to bond with me, to be my mate, my partner, my everything. Will you?" Kai's hands were shaking as Adrian pressed something into his palm. A ring, smooth, with raised patterns he could trace with his fingers. "The band has our initials in Braille," Adrian said softly. "And inside, it says, 'Found where we least expected,' because that's what we did, Kai. We found each other in the most unlikely way possible." "Yes," Kai breathed. "Yes, of course, yes." Adrian slipped the ring onto his finger, and Kai pulled him close, kissing him with everything he had. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Kai laughed. I can't believe I hid under your desk. Best corporate security breach in history, Adrian said solemnly, then grinned. Thank God for that rainstorm. Thank God for your terrible sense of direction. Thank God you chose my office to panic in. Thank God you didn't call security. Thank God you came into my life. They bonded a month later, in a private ceremony with only their closest friends and family. Maya cried through the entire thing. Adrian's mother, who'd been skeptical at first, welcomed Kai with